In this video, I'm going to teach you how to duplicate and delete pages from your template, how to place and adjust image size, alignment, and orientation, how to copy and paste text from Word into InDesign, and how to turn off hyphens. So what you're seeing now is my portfolio template, and you can see that I have taken the pages that I had saved as PDFs earlier to start to think about layout. And I've now gone back and placed these pages in certain orders within my portfolio template and deleted the unnecessary ones. And so what you're seeing here is my screen, and you can see along the side here, all the pages of my portfolio template are placed here. Now, this template itself had, my goodness, maybe 30 or 40 different page layouts that I could have chosen from. And so because I just have a few pages in this portfolio so far, I deleted many of them. And so they were all down here between the last page that I had created and this final back page here. And so all I did was I just grabbed the page and I would right click and I would say delete page. That's it. And then they were gone. You can also, click here. And then if you hold down your shift key, you can grab multiple pages. And then you can either drag them into the trash can down here, which I do not want to do, or you can right click and you can delete what they call spreads. They call them spreads when they're created like a book. Two pages are laying next to each other like a book. That's called a spread. And so just in the same way that I can delete a spread or delete a page, I can also click and then right click and duplicate the page, or select both and duplicate the spread. And so what you can see here is there's a few pages that I created that are the same as far as layout goes. And so you can see here that there's some similarities in some of the layouts, like for example, this one and this one, they are the same template page. I've adjusted them a little bit, but because I had created this one and it looked very similar to what I wanted, all I did was select these two pages, and then, as I showed you, right clicked and duplicated the spread. And then I used it for a later drawing. And then all I did was, if they were not in the right place, I can just select them here and I can move them into their correct location, and the order will adjust. And so that's how you duplicate and delete pages from your template. Now, in other videos, we've learned how to place and adjust the image size and alignment, but I did want to just introduce it again once more here. And so your template's going to come in with all of these boxes created for you that's going to allow you to drag and drop and place things in. Now, sometimes the size works really well and sometimes it doesn't. So in my template, have just deleted the placeholder boxes that were created for me, and I've placed in my own drawings. But this was one that, for example, I kind of liked the angle that it was at, or think I may like the angle. And so I did keep that box placed incorrectly. And so placed in my page layout correctly. And so what I did was I just clicked on this box, and then I went to place, and then I just searched for the link, that link folder, and I searched for the image, and then I hit place. And so when it comes in, this image itself, when I double click here, that gives me the box that the template created to place it in. But if I double click here on that image, this is the actual size of the linked file. So you can see here, if I adjust it the size like this without holding down my shift key, the ratio of length to width will not maintain the same. But if I hold down my shift and my control button on my computer, I can adjust the size here. And see, you can see, you don't see all of the image because it's placed and constrained by that box. You can also see it's just a little bit crooked inside. So if I want to adjust the alignment and size of my images, I have to double click on where they're placed, and then I can go ahead and change the size like that. Another thing that I want to show you as far as alignment and orientation is I want to take a look at these swatches here, and I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. Now, you can see here that I have placed in the swatches, and you can see when I double click, you see how big that swatch is. I've adjusted the size so that it gives a lot more detail than the picture of it up here. And so you can adjust the size of things quite easily like that. Okay, but once I have it sized the way that I want it, I want you to also consider alignment of especially things like swatches. So if you look at this, you can see the swatch itself is almost centered. So if I use my arrow buttons, you can see I'm centering this swatch so that there's the same cut of the half shingle here and here. You can see it on this brick as well. I've adjusted the size so that I get a really good detail of it, and my viewer can zoom in and really see the texture, because this image itself, even though my viewer can zoom in, it is still kind of small, and it's kind of small here too. So I've placed these swatches a little bit larger, but you can see I've taken care to center the cut part of the brick here and here. I could also adjust the size just a little bit more so that there aren't cut bricks. Okay, just a little bit more. And I use my arrow up. Like that. And then now you can see it's aligned top to bottom, but now I'm going to move it over so that you see, I'm just using my arrows on my keyboard. Now you can see that the center line of the bricks that are showing what we call that running bond, they're centered. And you can see I did it with the travertine as well. So this is a very subtle design element and something to think about when you're laying out your swatches on in your portfolio. Because once again, we as designers always want to convey the fact that we're detail oriented, and this is the kind of detail that we're talking about. And so that's a really important thing to focus on when you're adjusting the alignment and the orientation of swatches and images within your InDesign template. The next thing I'm going to teach you how to do is copy and paste text from Word into InDesign. Now, you might think that this is not, a difficult thing, but what I want you to do is just be mindful of the fact that we want to open up our Word document here, and we can go click on it here, and it's showing on my other screen. You're not going to see it here, but I'm going to copy in the text that you are seeing in this section. So I'm in my Word document and I just select the text. I do Control-C for copy. And then I click on this text box and I Control-V for paste. Now, I have selected this so that and placed it in here and adjusted the text box. But I also want you to know that if you place text in, you can see right over here, it has the hyphenate box checked. And we do not hyphenate in formal writing, especially in a portfolio like this. So let's say that this text box wasn't exactly the right size, and there was some words that were hyphenated, which we don't want. See, there, that word's hyphenated. So now if I select this, I can uncheck that hyphenate, and now the hyphen is gone. Okay, you can also see that it's cutting off some of the text, so I do adjust the text box there. Okay, and so I also want you all to be aware that there is some parts of the template that are already predetermined for you as far as text boxes go, but just know that you can delete those and you can create new text box. You've done this before probably, but just by creating the type tool, and then you can select and place your text box anywhere you want them. Okay, so now you have an understanding of how to bring in images from that linked folder into your design template. You know how to adjust the size of the image that it's brought in here by adjusting the size of that blue box so that it fits into that red box that InDesign has placed for you already. You know how to adjust the alignment and the orientation of your swatches, and how to copy and paste text from Word into InDesign so that there's no typos, and how to turn off hyphens.